try this again, folks. We have a little bit of a lag there right off the 50, don't want that. So thanks for your patience and welcome to today's art party. We've got... Oh, yeah, of course. So I wanted to go through a few things for you before we start. My name is Len. Our artist today is Damon. He's going to be teaching how to paint the Moonlit tree here, which looks a little intimidating, but it should be just fine. A few things with regards to the broadcast itself. It might get, we might move a little bit fast sometimes, but you can always pause the video and then resume the video at any time. This video is going to be available until midnight tonight, and that's it. Maybe we'll rebroadcast sometime in the future, but just we do get a lot of people that have missed this one. Well, not a whole lot we can do. We're going to end up going...
I just want to let you know, we just got a shout out from Australia.
No way! What time is it in Australia?
Maddie Jeffrey in Australia.
Oh, smokes. I'm going to take a guess and say it's, what time is it? I'm going to say it's 9 p.m. in Australia. We'll see. I wanted to also go over a couple of things that just happened in the last little while tonight. For anybody that's in Summerside, we're actually going to be delivering in Summerside. We have a driver, shout out to Ryan, who volunteered to go down and drop off some supplies. That's one good thing about all of this that's going on is that we've had an incredible amount of local support, people stepping up and adapting, and making sure that everybody that's in isolation or what we call that separation, they're still things to do like this. I know you guys are anxious to get started. What I will do quickly is I'll just go over what you should have in front of you. If you've got like art kits or something, which by the way, you haven't seen already, we are selling the kits and you pick them up with an appointment in Charlottetown or Summerside. Go to our website, fairparty.com, and you can do that and join in the fun. We have 5 different colors today. Are we using all 5?
Nope, just 3.
Oh, okay, perfect. So we're just using 3 colors today, which is blue, black, and white. And then of course you've got your 3 brushes, your large brush, your medium brush, and your small brush. You need a pencil too?
Pencil or chalk would be good.
Pencil or chalk is good. He's got both here. He's got a little bit of water for his for cleaning off the brush. A couple techniques. Some napkins and things in case things get messy. And canvas. And so far we've seen some pretty creative canvases. We've seen paper, we've seen wood, we've seen cardboard. So use whatever you can. I hope you guys have fun. If you didn't see the memo, today is actually the pajama day here at East Coast Art Party. And so at that, I'm going to welcome in our artist who's going to guide you through the next steps. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Damon. Mr. Damon. All right, so yes, it is pajama day, and you guys are all sitting at home in your pajamas painting. So I figured I'd wear my favorite pajamas. Very warm in here. But I love this one. All right, so yes, Len said using a pencil or chalk today as well.
It just came into the screen there, and it's just funny.
Using a pencil or chalk today as well. It's not 100% necessary, but it does help out. The other thing that will help you out later on is something to trace for a circle. Now we don't need that right now. But depending on the size of your canvas, you use a cup, you use a jar. I'm going to use one of my plates because I've got a big canvas. That'll give me a big circle. But like I said, we're going to be taking breaks, so that'll come later on. All right. Okay, so we're going to start this off nice and easy. Now, our background on this one, if you watched yesterday, the background usually takes 2 coats. This one's no different. We're going to do 2 coats. So don't worry about this first coat. All right? You just want to get the technique down and the idea, and then we'll let it dry for a minute before we do our second coat, where we can hide any little mistakes or anything you don't like. We can fix it up. That's fine. So we're going to start with our large brush. We're going to be using white first, and then we're going to be using white and some blue. Okay? So, biggest brush you've got, dip it in some white. And we're going to start in this kind of the center of our canvas with some white, paint in a circle. I know painting white on top of a white canvas, you're not going to see it on the video very well. But that's alright. White in the center of your canvas. Get in a circle. Once we've got a nice big circle on there, we're going to take some white and we're going to start picking up little bits of glue. We're picking up white and little bits of blue, and we're still just going in a nice big circle. We're going to take that blue all the way to the edge of our canvas, still making a nice big circle. I've got a little bit of white and a little bit of blue on my brush. We want it nice and streaky. And again, don't stress too much about this first one. I'm going to move a little bit quicker on here. You guys take your time. Just had somebody show up for an order as well, so I'm going to go give Len a hand in 1 second. Make sure he got it.
I just got here.
He's good?
Yeah, thanks.
We're just taking more blue, still going in a circle. Don't worry if it's not a perfect circle. Mine's not. That's what the second coat is for. We're going to take this right close to the bottom. You don't have to do the very bottom edge, but you can go right down to the bottom. Doesn't matter if you do or don't. We're going to be doing some water on there later. You know, right close to the bottom edge. And make sure you paint the sides and the edges of your canvas as well. Did you make sure she had canvases? Yeah, 4 canvases. Yeah, just make. Yep. There we go. It's nice and thin. We don't want any big clumps of paint on there. We want this to dry somewhat quickly so that we can do our second coat. Like I said, don't stress if your center is not a circle. Don't worry about it being a little streaky on the outsides. That's going to be our second coat. We're going to fix that up after. Just get that first coat done. Spread out that paint. Then you can clean out your brush, dry off your brush, and we need that to dry for a minute or 2. Okay, so we'll let everybody get caught up. Everybody's doing a different size canvas, like Len said. Some are painting on cardboard, some are painting on paper, wood, whatever you can find to paint on.
Tables and walls.
Tables, walls, doing a big wall mural, may as well. So get that first coat on, nice and thin, spread it out, always going in a circle. And then we're gonna let that dry for just a couple of minutes. Let everybody get caught up. Another thing with this live video, I know Len mentioned it, but I also wanted to let you guys know,
Some people didn't know you can pause a live video and you can rewind a live video. So you can also do this afterwards because we'll also be leaving it up till midnight. But if you start this at 11 with us, and if I'm going a little too quick or you need a little bit more time, you can hit that pause button, you can resume, and you can rewind. All right, let's let that dry for a minute. Shout out from Australia. All right.
And he's back in.
And we're back. Okay, so we got that first coat done, and then we cleaned out our brush really well and dried it off. It's this camera, right? Yes, this camera.
Yeah. Camera
Just
one.
making sure, I'm looking at the right one. Camera one. So we got our first coat done, and we cleaned off our brush really well. And this canvas should be mostly dry now. If it's still a little bit tacky, that's okay. But mostly dry. Because with that clean brush, we're going to go back to white in the center. We're going to start covering that again. And we're going to start picking up little bits of blue, still going in the circle. So the same way we did before. The only thing different is once we get to the very outside, so like these corners, and down here, we're going to have that blue on our brush, but we're going to also pick up tiny little pin pricks of black. And we're going to blend those together so that the outside of this circle is nice and dark. And I'll repeat that again as I'm doing it. So we're going to start with a large brush, nice and clean. We're going to start with just white again. We're going to start in the center, making a circle in just white. Again, no big globs of paint. And then same as before, while we still have white on our brush, you're going to pick up little tiny bits of blue. We want this nice and streaky, so don't brush over the same spot too many times. Just little bits of paint so that there's no big globs. It's nice and streaky. Take your time on this.
If you got any tips for blending, then it seems to be always the tricky part, eh?
It does, it does. A couple of tips with the blending is small amounts of paint on your brush at a time. And since we're blending the white into the blue, we have white on our brush first, and just very, very small amounts of blue. And it's a little bit of paint, just a little bit. And we just start brushing back and forth. Pick up a little bit more paint, brushing back and forth. Small areas at a time. We're not trying to blend the entire circle at once. You see how I'm doing just a little bit here? And now I'm going to go down here, get a little bit, just a little area. Move over here, doing a little area at a time with just a little bit of paint. That should help out with the blending. People think we have to blend the entire circle. We don't, just little areas. The circle is just the motion of your brush. We're just trying to follow that circle. And you see, I'm not brushing over the same spot a dozen times. I put a couple of brush strokes and I move on. Couple brush strokes and move on. As we're making this circle bigger, we're picking up more blue again. But I'm just doing little areas of this circle. I'm not going all the way around in one brush stroke. The other thing with this painting is you can see the center on mine, it's not a perfect circle. That's fine, because we're going to be putting a moon on top of that. So we'll make it a circle. I'm not worried about that. Little areas of the circle, picking up some more blue. Now's the point where I'm getting near the outside. So I have blue on my brush. And again, we're just going to do, we'll break it into four different areas. It'll be this corner, so the top left, top right, bottom right, and bottom left. We're going to put some blue on this top left corner. And then with blue on your brush, you're going to take just a tiny little corner of black, just a little touch. So I've got mostly blue on there with just a little touch of black. we're going to start blending. Now see, I just put it on there and it looks like a straight black line. I'm not sure if the glare really catches that, but it looks like a black line. All I'm going to do is pick up a little bit more blue, and we're just going to brush over top of that black and spread it out. And it'll give us a nice dark, dark, dark blue. So we want the edges of this to be darker. So again, small amounts of paint, blue with a tiny bit of black. We're just doing the top left corner right now. And so that turns out nice and dark compared to over here where it's still light. We're going to be doing the same thing on all the other corners. Blue first. So that once we have some blue on there, we can pick up a little tiny bit of black and start blending in some black. Small amounts at a time. That's key with this, because with black, we can always add more, but it is hard to take away. And don't forget, paint the sides. We're going to carry this color over. So we got the top two corners. Now we're going to do these bottom two bits. And you see, I didn't paint all the way to the bottom of my canvas just yet. That's because we have water to put in there after. So again, we start with blue and then tiny bits of black. Couple of brush strokes, pick up some more paint, little bits at a time, just little bits. So we're still following that motion of the circle. Small amounts of paint at a time. And again, I'm not worried about this very bottom piece right now because we're going to put water on there. Just want you to get some of this so that the outside of the canvas is a little bit darker than the inside. There will be one more thing we have to do before we take a little drying break. So I'm going to let people finish up this darker spot with the blending. When you're done with that, clean out your brush, dry it off. We don't want that brush to get crusty. I'll give it just a minute. I think Glenn might have a trivia question for us.
Maybe.
Maybe, possibly.
Working on it.
And then I'll explain how we're going to do the next part, which is always fun.
All right, folks. It's drying time or break time with lens trivia. This question for I don't know, the kids might know this one too. First one to answer, I want to see all the right answers. This animal can fall well over 100 feet. So I'm about 6 feet tall, so 10 times me plus another 40 of me, without injuring itself. So this animal can fall over 100 feet without injuring itself. What is it?
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I don't know it.
Oh, okay, no, good. I did have it on. Just want to make sure I did.
Before we take a drying break, and you guys are pondering Len's trivia question, we're going to do the fun part. Now, I always love this, but you have to listen to the instructions. Otherwise, paint's going to get all over your kitchen and floor and walls, and then you're going to be spending your whole day cleaning that. We're going to splatter some paint on here, but we're not just going to throw paint at it. There is a process to it to limit the amount of mess we make. It's still going to be fun, though. You're going to take your clean large brush, okay, and you are going to dip just the tips of the bristles into some water, just lightly. We don't want it too wet, just to dampen those bristles, all right? And then we're going to pick up a very small amount of white paint. So not a big clump of paint, just a very small amount, all right? You're going to hold this brush close to your canvas. Wherever it is, whether it's on your table or you're holding it up, you're going to hold it close to your canvas. Now, I always lean to the side a little bit, and we're actually going to flick the bristles. And this is going to give us some stars. So lightly and carefully, let's throw on some stars. There we go. How much of a mess did the kids make with that? That's what I want to know. Anyway, you want to flick on those stars, not too light because again, we don't want big clumps. If there's any big clumps, what some people have been writing in is that they've just gone and grabbed their blow dryer and just blow dried it for a couple minutes. But we'll let that dry for a couple of minutes and then we're going to jump back into it. So, answer that trivia question. Let's see who's got it. I don't know the answer to it, but let's see what we can do. All right, and we're back. So, the answer to the trivia question. Now, I didn't check the comments, but I'm sure we got somebody who got it right.
Well, hold on, I'll check.
Okay, we'll get Len to give it a quick look. We'll let him flip through there for a second.
Oh, we have some. Yeah, we have some. We have a lot of good answers.
A lot of good ones?
Yeah.
All right. So the answer, what animal can fall over 100 feet without hurting itself, is a squirrel.
Some people said flying squirrel. It would be flying if it's going
That's
down 100
true.
feet.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. It's a controlled fall, right? All right, I was just fanning this, make sure it's dry. What we want to do next is whatever we found to trace for our circle, whether it be a cup, whether it be a jar, whether it be a plate, whatever you found to trace for a circle. It all depends on the size of your canvas or whatever you're using. We're going to put that on. So this is going over top of that white spot that we started with. Or you can put your moon wherever you like, wherever it needs to go. And you're going to trace it. I'm going to trace mine in pencil, so you guys might not be able to see it, but I will. As long as you can see it, we're just going to trace that circle. There we go. So, we've got our circle put on. With your large or medium brush, whichever one you're more comfortable with, we're going to do just a thin coat of white all inside this circle. Make sure it's a thin coat, because we want that to dry quickly before we do our second step on it. So we're going to put a thin coat of white all on top of our moon, everything in that circle. Now you may still be able to see blue in behind that white, that's fine. We'll be able to hide that. This is just our first step. We're just building layers. Take your time, painting a thin coat of white. And again, I want to let everybody know, if you're still waiting for these splatters to dry, calm down, it's fine. Just hit pause on the video, fan or take your break or whatever you need to do, and then when you're ready, hit play and just follow along. Everybody's going to be at a different stage, different timing. That's fine. Last time I checked, we were just over 200 people watching this live, so I don't expect everybody to be at the same pace. Nice full moon. But I really spread that paint out so that there's no clumps of paint on there. That's important. And and we can still see some of my blue underneath that, that's fine. We will deal with that after that dries for a minute. So I'll give you just a minute to finish that up before I start work on our water. Okay, and we're back. Hopefully your moon's a little bit circle-ish. If it's not, it's a moon.
That's your moon.
It's your moon. It's your moon. Coffee's important, especially on PJ Day.
For all the parents.
For all the parents, yes. Yes, make sure you have your coffee. We're going to start work on our water. So, with our water, we're going to be using that large brush. It's still got some white on it. And I'm going to explain it first before I start it. We're going to start with a little bit of white and blue in the center here, going back and forth. Then while that's still wet, we're going to start picking up some blue. We're going to make the sides of it a bit darker blue. And then on the very edge, we're going to be picking up some black. And we're going to be making that dark. Now again, it's little tiny, tiny bits of paint at a time. Okay? So I'll explain it again while I do it. So I've got some white on my brush, and I've got some blue. And let's go right about here. Back and forth. Got some white, I've got some blue. Nice and streaky. This is going to be water. We're just going to start picking up some more blue. Bringing it in from the sides. Again, this is water. It does not have to be perfect. We just want to get that canvas covered. Trying to keep the top here somewhat level. On the outside, it's blue with a little bit of black again. So I haven't cleaned my brush off at all with this. So hidden in the bristles there is still a little hint of white. Our water's streaky. That's what we want. So we're just looking for the side of it to be a little bit darker. There's no wrong way to do water. So we did that right hand side. We're going to do the same thing on the left hand side. We might have a few questions here. We'll get Len just checking out the comment section. See if everybody's doing all right.
He's doing just great, buddy.
Wonderful. So little bits of blue, tiny bits of black. Take your time with little bits at a time, all right? Don't need to be quick at this. Yeah, we got some water. And again, paint the sides. Carry that paint over the edge of your canvas. Don't worry about the very bottom edge of your canvas where it's sitting right now. If it's laying down, you can definitely paint that edge. If it's on an easel or standing up in any way, just leave that bottom edge. At the very end, when you're all done, you can paint that bottom edge with a little bit of black, but that's at the very end. So I'm just gonna paint these sides real quick. And then I'm gonna stand back, make sure that's straight. That's close enough. Close enough to straight. Perfect. So we'll give you a minute to finish off that water. Of course, when you're done, make sure you clean out your brush and dry it off. Because after we finish that water, we're gonna go back to our moon. And there's a couple of little tricks and something a little bit different that we're gonna be doing with this moon to give it lots of texture. So just work on that water for a minute. All right, and we're back. Okay, so we got our water on there. We're gonna go back to our moon. Okay. Now the moon, we gotta add texture to it. As you can see on this one, behind this happy little tree, there's a lot of texture in there, some blue and some white. So I'm actually not gonna use a paintbrush. I am gonna use a napkin. I find it gives you lots of texture. We're gonna scrunch that napkin up, or paper towel, paper. I mean, you can do this with a brush, but this is fun. I mean, I'm sure we all got napkins on hand right now. A napkin. And we're gonna do some dabbing. We're gonna start off with just a little tiny bit of blue, and then afterwards we're gonna dab some white on it. So the tips and tricks with this. I'm gonna take the napkin. We picked up some blue, but there's a whole bunch on there. We don't want a whole bunch on there. So we just wipe it off on the side of our plate, our container, wherever. So there's only a little bit. And we're gonna start lightly dabbing. Now we're only doing a few areas of blue. So just a couple little areas here. Little bits. Make sure you wipe off that paper towel. There we go. It's a very odd looking smiley face. How about that? So we've got a little bit of blue on there. Now with the same napkin, but I'm going to use a different side of it. We're going to do the same thing with some white. And we're going to dab some of this white really close and over top of a little bit of our blue, because that'll help them blend together. And it'll bring some of that blue everywhere else in our moon. So we want all this texture. So pick some up, some white, and wipe it off. I'm going to hold my canvas here so it doesn't fall anywhere. And we're going to lightly start doing some dabbing. And we're going all the way to the edge of our moon. So be careful and go slow when you go to the edge of your moon, because we don't want to go over it. We just want to get as close to that edge as we can. And because that blue was still wet, and I'm dabbing white, see how it's giving me a couple of different shades of blue? Small amounts of time, little light dabs. Adding some texture. Just little bits of paint. We want our moon to have that texture. Take your time. Get right close to the edge. Small amounts of paint. Again, don't dab in the same spot too many times, because we don't want it all to turn the same color. We want this to have some texture to it. Going slow around the edges. And that's how we get the texture in the moon. Forgot a little spot right there. There we go. I'm happy with that. Every moon is going to look a little bit different. Okay, it's a moon. There's no wrong way to do it. You just want to try your best to keep inside the line so we don't cross over. Light little dabs with the napkin so that we get all that texture. And they're all going to look different. So was mine. I painted both of these. They both look a little different. It's art. All right, we'll let you finish that moon for another minute. I'm going to check the comments here, make sure we're good. Okay, so we're all done and happy with our moon. We're going to paint in a little piece of land, and then we need our moon to dry before we paint our happy little tree. So with our medium brush, or small brush if you're doing a smaller canvas, we're going to put in a little piece of land. Now, Lynn, when I paint this in, can we make sure that the glare, that we can actually see it? I'm not too sure, because it's black on black. If I paint right there, can you see it?
I'm just going to throw the...
I'm just painting in a little piece of land. Might be a little bit hard to see on the live here, so I think Len's trying to get the picture put up. So you got so it's not straight. Alrighty. There's our little piece of land. So we need our moon to be dry before we move on to our happy little tree. So after you paint that little piece of land in, if you want a fan, or just take a break and let that moon get dry, then we'll come back and we'll start our happy little trees. All right. So we're back at it. Before we start
go. Sorry about that. There was no sound there for the last little while.
So for everything I just said, there was no sound.
I think there was no sound for the last 5 or 10 minutes.
Right from starting the tree.
Good thing it's visual.
Right from starting the tree.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm not going to repeat myself. Those are the most important instructions. That's all we got.
You just gave away the key to life right there.
I did.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, folks. There's a lot of no sound there, yeah.
Yep. You guys missed the answer to the universe and everything.
Yes, the man in the, what exactly are you? A dragon?
It's a dragon.
Yeah, so the man in the dragon PJs just gave away the key to life,
Yep.
and there was no sound for it.
Yep. I'll tell you what, the answer is 42, but do you know the question? A couple of people are going to get that.
How many minutes did we miss sound? 42.
Okay. How about I try this again and I'll repeat it?
Yeah.
With your little tiny brush and black, we're going to start putting in our tree. And we're going to put in just a few branches right now so that it looks like a twig. All right? Just a twig. All these branches, little tiny brush in black. Once you have all of them in, we're going to go back and we're going to start thickening some of these up. Because with a tree, the ends of the branches are always the skinniest. And as the branch gets closer and closer, it gets thicker and thicker. So it's wider and wider. And the trunk is always the widest part. So I haven't done any of that yet. It's a good thing we caught that sound issue. Sorry about that. But we're going to go back and we're going to start thickening these up so that the end here is skinny and it gets wider and wider as we get to our trunk. After we do that to all of these branches, we will add some more little tiny ones. We're just starting with these as a base right now. Does that make sense? I think we're good. If there was no sound and I repeated that a second time.
Oh, we got sound there, buddy.
Okay, good.
I can see it moving.
All right, so we got our twig on, skinny lines first. Let's go back and start making some of these a little bit wider. So I start on the end, and we're just gradually, slowly making this branch get wider as it's coming to where our trunk will be. Here's one. Skinny on the outside, gradually getting wider as it gets to where our trunk's going to be. And if I had no sound, you totally missed my Bob Ross quote. I'll say that one again.
Do it.
All right. So when you're doing trees and these branches, don't stress about it because, like Bob Ross says, trees don't grow straight. They grow whoever makes them happy. We're going to thicken up each one of these branches, little bits at a time. Now I did say that I'm using my medium brush, but I would recommend that you guys use your little brush and take your time with it. Something else you can do, if you're a little worried about your branch, maybe you made out here a little bit too thick. Like this guy right here. Maybe out here is a little bit too thick. That's an easy fix. All you have to do is make your branch a little bit longer, so that it tapers into skinny. branches a little bit wider. Now I'm going to widen up my trunk. And there's the start of our tree. After you've widened those branches and we got our trunk on there, we have to add some little branches. All right. So that's with our little tiny brush. And again, we're going to hold it nice and close to the bristles. We're going to press very lightly. We're going to start adding in some branches. So one thing I want to mention is a branch doesn't grow straight off another branch. So there's no sharp angles. See how we kind of curved these ones? And they all kind of curved into each other. It's not a sharp angle. That's what we want to do with all these extra little branches. So we'll start off with a little line. Throw a couple extra branches on it. We put these wherever you like. And then we're just going to make it so it curves into the branch that it meets. Again, the lighter you press, the skinnier your line will be. Go nice and slow. This is one of our last steps, so you can take your time. We're going to add a bunch of these little branches all coming off. Some of them longer, some of them shorter. Wherever you like. Every tree's going to be different. I'm just going to put a few on each branch. I'm going to work my way all around. Then what I always do is stand back a little bit, take a look at it, and see if you want to go back and add a few more branches in certain areas, fill it in a touch more. Little bits at a time. Now would be a good question if Len has another trivia.
Sure. Right.
Oh, sounds like a good one.
Well, it's an interesting one. I'm going to stand here with the dragon, Damon Dragon. Okay, we'll do a quick trivia question here, folks. This is one for the older folks, maybe younger folks that they might have a few of these in their home with kids. However, these items, their last names are Roberts and Carson, and it's not Damon. Who are they? Their last names are Roberts and Carson. Who are they?
I'm pondering that.
All right. All right, good.
I don't
good
know
thinking.
if I know that one.
I like this one. It's a good one.
I have an idea, but we'll wait and see.
Somebody got it already.
Somebody got it.
Yeah, somebody got it already. No Googling. I hope they didn't Google.
Yeah, no cheating. Kids, make sure your parents don't Google. Alright, so I'm going to stand back, take a look at my tree. I might use another branch or two. Every tree is different. Every branch is different. Every time I paint this one, the tree's going to look different. It's going to have a different number of branches. So if you're trying to count my branches, don't.
Yeah. Random.
Yeah, random. Random lovely tree. I'm going to throw one more right in there. One more happy little branch. Yeah. That's nice. That's a nice branch. Alright, well, you didn't finish that before Len gives us the answer on this trivia because I'm curious about it.
All right, there weren't. Oh, you know what? There's a lot of good answers here, and we've got the right ones already. The answer to the trivia question, folks: Barbie and Ken. Barbie. I wonder if it's Barbie Roberts. Is that your sister? Your mom?
No.
Barbie Roberts.
Barbie Roberts.
Ken Carson. I don't know if it's. Who knows? If anybody knows which is which, just post it in the comments there. I'd be curious. Is it Ken Roberts or Barbie Roberts?
For some reason, I was thinking it was Bert and Ernie.
Yeah, Bert and Ernie, that'd be a good duo too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Alright. So you guys might still be working on your tree, and that's fine. You can just hit pause on the video right now, so you can have that tree up there and finish it off. But the last step, after you finish your tree, last step is always the most important, which is, Gabby, what's the last step?
Sign.
You gotta sign it. You gotta sign your painting. And that's it. Now's a good time to, if you didn't, you can always paint the very bottom edge of your canvas black. But we want to see your pictures, so make sure you snap a picture. You can post it in the comments, tag us, Instagram, all that good stuff. And that one was a lot of fun. I think that went well. And enjoy your PJ day. I know I did.
All right, before you go, I just want to step in, say thank you everyone for joining us today. A few sound issues there during the broadcast, but hopefully everybody got through it. I wanted to also give you the heads up that tomorrow we're doing one in the morning. We always kind of wait until the middle of our broadcast to announce the next one. It is going to be Harry Potter tomorrow morning, about 11 a.m. And then tomorrow night we're going to do like a couples date night, but they can be separated as well. It goes together. But either one, it's going to be awesome. They're really good paintings. I'm excited about them. So stay tuned for those. We're still doing the supplies for Summerside, folks. If you're watching this, the cutoff for Summerside delivery will be 2:30 because we have to have time to get there and deliver them. So 2:30. Anytime after that, we will probably deliver tomorrow or the next day. And that's about it. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.